This video is going to take you through doing a one proportion Z interval, a full AP question. This is homework 3 and this is number 2. So you're going to do number 1 on your own and then I'm going to take you through number 2. Number 2, this is the exact AP question and the words used. The manager of a local fast food restaurant is concerned that customers who ask for a water cup are actually using it for soda. The manager selected a random sample of 80, okay, that's N, and they asked them for a water cup. So the sample is of 80 people who asked for a water cup and found that 23 of those actually used it for soda, okay? So this is going to help us to generate p hat. That's going to be x divided by n, where x is the number of people who asked for a water cup and used it for soda, 23, and n is the 80. So if we divide 23 divided by 80, we're going to get our p hat value, which is 0.2875. This is a statistic because it came from the sample. Now it says we're going to do a 95% confidence level. That's called capital C, the confidence level. And we're going to look up the Z star because we're going to use Z star for our critical value for the 95% level. If you look it up on table B, you're going to see it's 1.96. And you're going to get really good at remembering that after a while. Okay, so now we're ready to go. We're going to set up our panic. Number P stands for population of interest and parameter of interest, and we want to state them in context. So the population of interest, you want to look for who was the sample selected from. So it said that a sample of 80 customers from those who asked for a water cup when placing an order. So the population is all customers who asked for a water cup when placing an order, okay? And the parameter of interest is the unknown parameter that we don't know is going to be P, the true proportion of customers who ask for a water cup and use it for soda instead of water. Okay? So basically we don't have that unknown parameter P. We have P hat. And we're going to create an interval around our point estimate, which is p hat, in order to hopefully get a good idea of what the true proportion is, p. Okay, now we're going to do the A, the assumptions. The first assumption is the sample a simple random sample taken from the population of interest? It said it was a random sample. So stated to be a random sample taken from the population of all water cup askers. Okay, this is a lot of writing. I know I'm writing it in context. Okay, second assumption we have to check is 10 times n less than the population of interest? So 10 times n is going to be 10 times 80, which is 800. Is that going to be less than the population of all customers who asked for a water cup? We hope so. We're going to assume. Okay, so they're never going to really ask you to do something where you kind of stop and you say, oh, this is not met. I'm going to give up. I'm not going to do the question. They want you to still proceed. And lastly, n times p hat and n times q hat have to be at least 10 for the sample size to be large enough that the sampling distribution will be approximately normal. So in this case, we have 80 times p hat. P hat was 23 out of 80. So 80 times 23 out of 80 equals 23, which is bigger than 10. And n times q hat is going to be 80 times 57. You're going to get 57, and that's bigger than 10 as well. So because this is met, that means the sampling distribution of p hat is approximately normal, and we can proceed with the n, the name. The name of our interval is called a one proportion Z interval, okay? One proportion because it's a proportion question, Z because we're using a Z-score or Z-star critical value, and Z interval, okay, 95% level. Okay, we're done with PAN. Now we're going to go to the interval step. So this is the step where you need to write the formula in symbols first, and then you plug in your numbers, and then you write your answer. So we have statistic plus or minus critical value times standard error of the statistic. This is taken right off the reference sheet. The statistic is p hat, the critical value is z star, and the standard error of p hat is going to be the formula p hat times 1 minus p hat over n. Again, taken right off that reference sheet. So once you have your formula symbols written, now you're allowed to plug in your numbers. So if you go back up, you see that our p hat was 23 out of 80, or 0.2875. So I'm going to plug that in here for p hat, 0.2875 plus or minus z star, which is 1.960, times the square root of p hat, 0.2875, 1 minus p hat, 1 minus 0.2875, over n, which was 80. And now you're actually allowed to go right to the calculator for the interval. So you're going to go to stat, you're going to go over to test, and you're going to choose up or down till you get to letter A for apple. And it's a one prop Z interval, one proportion Z interval. Choose it. Then the X is the numerator of your p hat, which was 23 people, and your denominator was 80 because it was 23 out of 80. And then the confidence level was 95%. So you don't put this in as a fraction. You put the numerator, which is the 23, separate, denominator, 80, separate, and then the confidence level, boom. And here's my interval, 0.18832. I'll just do 3. And then 2.3867. All right, and our last step is conclusion and context. So our conclusion and context is going to be our sentence that is the interpretation of the interval. We say, I am blank % confident that the true parameter of interest is between blank and blank, okay? So in the blank, we're going to put the confidence level. I am 95% confident that the true, this is actually should be a lot longer of a line, proportion of customers who ask for a water cup and use it for soda is between the numbers above, 0.1883 and 0.3867, okay? So this is our confidence interval. We got this interval from the calculator, and we just did the entire steps of panic.